Hello and welcome all. Welcome to this special edition of this talk show on 10 News. It is on stress among school students. And that is what we are going to discuss today. This topic affects millions of young minds, and stress among school student is become a common thing. I'm your host. My name is Dr. Rudresh Pandey, and I have very eminent panelists with me, along with few very bright students. I have Miss Alka Singh Ji, who's a principal at Bluebells Model School in Gurugram. I have Miss Navroop Sood Ji, who has joined us from Singapore. She is a founder and a psychotherapist. She is also a CEO of Heal with Nerve. And I have few students whom I'm going to introduce you in some time. I have Armaan with me, Arshiya, Jatin, Ihinaa, and Krisha with me. So let me first come to Navroop ma'am. Ma'am, I would like you to kindly introduce this. What is stress? Because there is a lot of confusion when it comes to stress with students. People don't know and they are not sure whether that is stress. For example, if my daughter is worried about her exam tomorrow, is that stress? Or do you, as a professional, define stress in a different way, ma'am?
Thank you, Rudresh ji, for that question. I think it's extremely important to address that first. Key, what is stress? Because if I ask, 10 people in a row, abhi yahan pe bhi, we are sitting here, and if I ask people, what is stress? I'm sure all the answers would have some kind of negative connotation that, okay, stress is this, there is this outcome, I'm not able to perform, some kind of negative outcome attached to stress. To describe, to give you the definition of stress, it's actually some kind of tension, mental or emotional tension, due to some demanding circumstances like exams. As you rightly mentioned, my daughter going for exam, of course there would be stress. And sometimes adverse circumstances, things happen, in life, circumstances we cannot control. Sometimes there are some kind of accidents, some kind of nuances, experience, like COVID happened. None of us expected that thing to happen. So of course that would add to stress, because there is an adverse circumstances and I do not feel capable enough to cope with it. The problem is the stress is good also, which we do not recognize. Stress is something which helps us to move forward. So stress is good in a way also, but it becomes bad because we only talk about bad stress. But stress is good too. I am going to elaborate on that as we move forward. But for right now, I want to let you know that there are two kinds of stress which we need to be aware of. Yes, stress is something which brings that some kind of disequilibrium in me. It allows me to move into action, but it becomes bad when I stay stuck in those circumstances, when I'm not able to bounce back and I'm paralyzed by my emotional or mental stress or mental tension.
Okay. I think this is a very nice way to define. I'll come to Alka Singh, ma'am. Ma'am, you deal with students in a very broad spectrum of age, from very young to when they become almost adults. So, what is stress according to you? Do you also see stress in this light, as Navroop ma'am said, that it can be positive, it can be negative? And do you have different stress levels at different age groups and in different classes? What is your experience with stress, ma'am?
uh, Rudresh sir, I would just like to say yes. Stress otherwise, like as an economics or a physics person, I would say, generally in physics, you define strain as stress, any kind of strain on the physical body is stress. And otherwise, I feel the fear of unknowns, or if you're operating from past or you're operating from future, any person, any age. So that's something which brings about a change in your psychological as well as physiological body over there. So therefore, when we are talking about grade 3 to 5 in a school, so a child is stressed out because the child has to move from one wing to another wing. So that's his stress, fear of unknown. Same as the students from grade 5 when they go to grade 6. So there's a wing change from primary to middle wing. So they're stressed out. We do have sessions like, transition sessions, like how comfortably you can, there should not be any fear of examination, because till grade 5 they do not have examination, and after that the fear of examination, a new language being introduced, different teachers, you don't have a mother teacher. And then we move on to grade 9 and 10. So I think, the parents expectation, adolescence, the peer the conversations or the peer pressure, all these lead to stress of maybe board examination, or an identity of themselves, like what do our friends feel about us. So there's a different kind of stress. And when you go to grade 11 and 12, so career is one part, and secondly, again, I would say is that saying what happens to us after grade 12. We're going to lose out on our friends. So there are different aspects. One is the academic aspect, one is the career aspect. Another one, when we are talking about, is basically, everyone wants to be in their cocoon, a comfortable zone. So we experience these varied stress, and another stress is because we handle our staff members also. So that's a different kind of stress also what we handle. So
Yes. So
the
I think yes, you must be experiencing different stress level at. So what I could understand from you is that a change brings a lot of stress among students. Ma'am, do you see different levels of stress also, and when is it that you raise a flag or a caution that now this student, especially, needs some counseling or help? Is that happening with you in your school? Are you identifying those kind of students? And how do you
yes,
identify? Because I want my listeners who are parents, they should know when to intervene, because as we have discussed here, that stress can be at times positive also, and stress is a normal part of our life. Both of you said that stress is a normal part of life, but as a principal you must have experience. When is it becomes a problem, and how to identify that, ma'am, and how do you identify?
that's a very, very important question at times, I think, for educators, for parents, everyone. Uh, as a teacher or as a principal, for example, these 5 kids are right in front of me. So it's important when you see the eyes, there's a change, there's a little sadness, maybe there's a little frown, or they're not what they generally are. They're not normal. Within a second, you get to know there's something which is not working out. So the first question is all okay? So how the child responds, you can make out. And secondly, I feel in our school we give that kind of space, like all of them from grade 3 to 12, they can walk up to the in charges, the teacher, and me. The office is open the moment they feel there's something which is not right. So that's one way of identifying. Secondly is the peer mentors, like Armaan and Arshiya and Ihinaa. When they're there, so their job is they keep observing the students in the class, and if they feel there is some deviation from the normal, like for example, I walk into my class, and the way I keep my bag, and today I walk in, I keep the bag quietly. So peer mentors are trained to identify, you know if there is something which is not normal, immediately they report. And we take it up with the student, and there are different levels how we take it up. We have an health and wellness department with us, headed by Dr. Alka Singh. So we have professional counselors. So once the peer mentors, they identify, they inform the class teacher informs the wing in charge, and depending upon how much is the deviation, we intervene. If we say it's just a little, you know off, so there's a conversation which can be made. Maybe it's just a little, while coming from home with mother, maybe the tiffin is not right. These are like minor things. But then is major is when you see a change otherwise in the normal behavior. So that's where we take up the counseling part. And it's
Navroop ma'am,
important.
okay. Navroop ma'am, I'll come to you. Alka ma'am has a system which identifies, and there is a system which is in place. So for parents, what should how they should identify, and how should they categorize that this is a good stress and this is a bad stress, or maybe a stress where a child needs help.
Yeah. So sometimes when we recognize that our child is not able to cope, you know, they are not being their usual self, as Alkaji mentioned, because as parents, I can recognize that the child is behaving very differently. They are not being themselves. They are withdrawing. They are withdrawing from the family activities or even from the studies. You know, they were very good at studies and suddenly the grade starts to decline, or their eating habits are changing. They are suddenly reporting migraines, weight loss, fatigued all the time. So these are the physical symptoms. As far as thinking is going, so there's a decline in cognitive functioning. So they'll start forgetting. They'll not remember what was the homework, or they'll not remember what was being taught in the class. So there's a decline in cognitive functioning, and there is a decline in emotional processing. But when I say emotional processing, so they won't be able to connect emotionally also. There are chances that such students would start to procrastinate. They want to perform, but they just can't bring themselves to that position where they can work about their goals, or they can study. They want to study, they want to achieve good marks, but they are not somehow able to. And also the activities which they used to enjoy, like playing piano or playing some kind of sport, suddenly there is a decline in that and they don't want to do it anymore, or they are keeping themselves to their own rooms. Their eating habits have changed. Either the eating is more, or they are totally eating. So these are certain indicators, physically very visible, especially for the parents. If they are attuned and they are staying with the kid, they would pick up on these things, that okay, now it is going beyond a certain limit, which means it's affecting the day to day normal functioning of the child. And then that's the point where we raise a red flag, and it's the time to seek some kind of intervention or some kind of professional help at that point.
So, if I can understand very quickly from you, for example, a parent has identified. Let's say I have two daughters. So, if I see that there's something missing now, there's something which is not normal. What should I do? Should I talk to them or talk to a counselor like you, or what should I do, ma'am?
The first line of defense, the first line, the point of contact should be parent, or a very close caregiver or a teacher, somebody who is close to the child. If you as a parent have identified, you can go and say, what's wrong? Is this something I can help you with? Are you struggling with something? The chances are, if they have a rapport with you and they are not scared of you, they are going to open up to you. But the problem is, if they're scared of the parent themselves, because the parenting comes with conditioning. I love you if you get good grades. I love you if you go to your violin classes. I love you if you are doing so and so things. So if the parenting is coming with conditions, a child will not open up to you. So if there is no condition attached whatsoever and you have a rapport, the child would feel safe enough to be vulnerable with you, and would, confide in you that this is what I'm feeling. And then together collaboratively, you can think of ways of helping the child out of stress. It's only when we are not able to help our child with whatever we have the capacity for, that's when we bring them to professionals. But before that, I can easily tell you, if we are attuned to our children, there most of the things which can be handled at you know that smaller level, at community level, at school level, at parent level, at peer levels also. And then later on, when all these things fail, then and then only the professional care comes in. But otherwise, the first point of contact would always be somebody who's attuned, somebody who with whom the child is feeling safe with. So the safe is the keyword. Safety is the keyword here.
Okay, I think thanks, ma'am, for this. I'll come to my students, but before that, I would like to ask Alka, ma'am, as ma'am is saying that a collaboration and talking to students, and at this point of time, for example, the parent who has identified, how will you suggest them? What will you suggest them? Because the school has also a role to play. And what will you suggest them, that what should they should be doing? Should they come to you as a parent if their child is in your school and talk to you, or what advice can you give them at this point of time? And a parent has identified that there's a stress, and probably the parent has also spoken to the child. What will be your advice, ma'am?
Actually, like how Navroop ma'am was talking about, I feel once the parent has identified, they should always walk up to the school, the teacher, the in charge, or the principal. Who the reason is because child is always the epicenter. One side is the parent and one side is the school, and the child is spending almost 6.5 hours in the school. So there's loads what we can do for helping this child out. Even if the stress is from school or home, it doesn't make any difference. It's all about um, you know we supporting the child. And Jenny, what I tell the parents is, walk up, talk to us first, don't get the child, just talk to us. They share, even they share, the family concerns, or in case the child has shared something related to a specific student or a specific teacher or any environment, anything. So from there I take it up. And the second step generally I tell the parents is, in case we are unable to help out, so let's give like a week, 10 days for the whole scenario to change. If it doesn't, I always recommend a professional help to be given, depending upon the level of stress and what is the nature of stress. Generally in teenagers, I personally feel is that, yes, as ma'am was saying, the parent is the first point of contact, then comes the school, and but apart from that, uh, even professional help we should always be open to it. It should not be like a taboo, that why do I need a professional, is there something wrong with me? There's nothing wrong with any person. Like, for example, I'm having my cup of tea and I like having a cup of tea because it's going to relax me, right? Like, so exactly the same manner, we can always have a professional therapist over there supporting us and making us just walk smoothly. So that's my point of view.
Okay, and we are getting a lot of comments also. Like we have a comment from Anand Prakash ji, who's saying that there's a lot of focus on expectations and management, and he's saying that there should be expectation management which should be there. And then I have comments that there's a lot of focus on numbers and percentage. Now I'll come to students who are here with me. So I'll start with Arman. Arman, first, I would like you all to introduce yourself and tell us, what role do you play? You have a specific role in your school when it comes to stress management. So, in a very brief, if you can tell us that, what role do you play, and what stress, Arman, according to you, is, and if there is any specific thing which you want to ask to Navroop ma'am, you can ask, or if you want to put your thoughts on whatever discussion we had till now. Arman.
Thank you, sir. So, first of all, I would like to greet all the panelists and all the audience present here. I am Armaan Sareen. I am studying in Bluebells Model School and I'm in grade 11th, and I've taken up the humanities stream. uh, According to me, like as Alka ma'am described about the whole health and wellness ecosystem in our school, uh, as like we have the first thing reporting, ma'am has very well explained. The second thing that do very regularly is that we have module sessions very regularly. We have exam stress modules. We have modules for like Safe Diwali. We will be recently having a very no tobacco. So these are some of the topics which are quite concerning our age group, and we try to build up set up modules so that we can engage with all our peers, and uh, in a fun and interactive way we can actually put the point in front of everyone that yeah, this is the issue and this is how we can tackle this and this is how we can deal with this. And my personal coming to my personal opinion on stress, I feel that yeah, as Navru ma'am said, the good stress is extremely important. I also personally feel that if I am carefree, if I am do not have stress that I have work piled up, or the exam is coming or something like that, I won't study. But I have the sense of if I have the sense of responsibility and the good stress, then only I will be able to actually uh, put my efforts in it, take some pain, and actually work hard for it. And regarding the career also, uh, whenever like I feel that what will there's something that sparks after every some time ki, what will I going to do in this and that. So I utilize that time. I go to the internet, see what we can do, examinations, entrance examinations, courses, universities. So that's one thing. And yeah, the differentiation between good and bad stress is really important. And until and unless we are also occupying ourselves with extracurriculars, we are we have something that keeps us away from the monotony, and we have something that we love personally. It's our passion, and we want to for example, I really like to do MUN. So I whenever I find a free weekend, or there's a good MUN approaching, I really like to do these things. So it's really it's doing everything in monotony is really exhausting, but something should be there where we can escape from. So that's the point I would like to.
Okay,
Uh,
thank you, Arman. I think you spoke very, very well, and you, in fact, gave us solutions also for this. I'll come to Arshia. Arshia, what have you? I'll ask a different question to you. Have you seen different levels of stress with students? Have you identified them? Just tell us your role also. What you do in your school in this, and what is your part of managing stress in your school? And also tell us, have you seen different levels of stress, and have you identified few students who have more stress and few who have less stress? How do you classify them?
Hi everyone, I'm Arshiya Sharma from grade 11th. I study in Bluebells Model School. So, yes, I have seen many students with different stress levels. There are many students who have stress, like Navroop ma'am said, who have good stress, and that stress keeps them motivated to do the things, to achieve their goals and everything. And there is another level of stress, that is the bad stress, the chronic stress that keeps them stuck in their situation, and they just stay in the situation, and they feel like there's no way out. So they obviously need help at that time. And at that time, we are the people who need to identify that stress. We are the people who need to approach the teachers so that the teachers can help those students, because yes, the teachers can seek professional help from them too, for them too, etc. Yes.
So how often have you seen these kind of students who you think that they need help and they are somehow stuck in their stress? Is it very frequent, or is it not happening very frequent? And so, what is your experience with these kind of things?
I think happens frequently, because I see students who are going through the stress, etc. It shows on their face, as Alka ma'am said.
Mhm.
And yes, so at that time they need help from the teachers and everything.
Okay. And was there a situation which you felt you could not handle, or there was something? Because then we will put that thing to Navroop ma'am and we'll try and find some kind of solution. Has there a specific thing, for example, let's say someone is very much into, let's say, some kind of games, and that is causing, and that person is not able to give that up? Is that some specific things which are happening like that?
Yes, that brings me to my question. My question was on that how to manage time effectively these days, because in class 11th and 12th, students are more focused on building up their profile if they want to go abroad, doing extra co-curricular activities. So how can students manage their academics with these co-curricular activities? because that causes a lot of load on students, they become more stressed, and that is likely that they'll be stuck in that situation.
Okay. And Navroop ma'am, would you like to answer it now, or we can take questions from other students also? Ma'am, you have to unmute yourself.
Yeah, as you say, Rudresh, I can take it now also, or if you want
Okay.
me to
So,
take.
if you can just tell us that time management has become a big issue with students because they have a lot of things to do together, and that causes a stress. So, how do they should deal with this stress when it is a lot of things coming together, and there's a lot of time management which has to happen?
Yeah. See, getting into that rat race or getting into that grades itself is stressing. If you tell me that I will be evaluated for my performance, and a number is going to define my life after this, I am sure each one of us would get scared about it. That number defining the course of my life. But having said that, as Arsha mentioned, and I liked what Armaan said before, how we are going to manage our time in the sense like, okay, this is what is stressful for me. So having that awareness first that this kind of studies back to back to back, going to school, coming back, having a bite, going to tuition, coming back, going for this, it's back to back scheduling. If I manage it like this, it's going to be stressful no matter what. You need those periods of rest, you need those periods of cultivating your passion and giving that time to those things as well. So the thing is, if you can find, if your studies are important and it's taking up too much of time and you do not have time to cultivate passion and give that time to it, I would request you to find those glimmering moments during the day. We call it glimmers. So those small moments where you can find time for yourself, just for yourself. Just like 2 minutes, 1 minute during the day. Take a break. Go for a run. Or if not, skipping rope, jumping jacks, or doing something for yourself, or going and watching TV. I remember, what my daughter, she is giving her A levels, which is 12th this year. So she will have a nap every 1 hour, 1.5 hours. She'll come and say, I'm going for a 15 minutes nap. Can you wake me up? Or she will go and play Zelda. Oh, this is my free time, this is my break time. So please do something about yourself, do it for yourself that makes you happy, that gives you that kind of kick. Okay, I am going to study for 1 hour and then I'm going to reward myself with this. So have a balance of that so that you can keep going, because in any case you have a deadline, there is an end in sight. It's not going to be forever. This board exams, this 11, 12, there is an end in sight. Once the 12th exams are over, you will get to your goal, whether it is university in abroad or university in India, wherever you are going to get to your next level of your life. So that's going to happen. Nobody can stop that from happening. But how you enjoy the journey, how you go ahead with the process, that's important. And don't, feel scared of asking for help. Reach out to your teachers if you need help academically, reach out to your parents, to your peer supports, and you have, I think, fabulous way of addressing it in your school with these wellness programs going on, with peer support is going on. So I think that's a fabulous way where the community, the system itself has opened up that gateway for you guys to come and approach them, and they're open enough to take their feedback, and even initiating these kind of conversations, inviting you guys, and taking in your inputs and making an effort to incorporate that in the system. So I think system is opening up, they are slowly softening towards the children. I think children can now also open up their hearts to the system, and we can collaboratively find a solution for it, maybe
Okay.
maybe even also.
I'll ask Jatin also before that, and then I'll come to you, Alka ma'am also. Navroop ma'am will also like to understand how system is different in, let's say, a country like Singapore where you are. But before that, I'll ask Jatin. Jatin, if you can just introduce yourself, what is your role in school, and what according to you are the stress points in a student's life? What are the things that stresses a student?
Hello everyone. I'm Jatin. I'm a part of the student council, and being a part of the council, we are with the students throughout the day. So I think, apart from the parents, we also play an important role. Like we also observe the change in attitude, and as ma'am mentioned about stress, so we are also the ones who observe the change in attitude. And like if people are struggling and people are going through stress and all these things. Uh, so you asked about
Is there any
future.
specific thing, Jatin, which stresses students? Like if I can ask you to, let's say, list two things or maybe three things. So, have you ever tried to notice, or is it a general thing that it can happen of anything?
Basically in my age group, when we are in class 12, so career is a big stress for all of us. Apart from it, examination stress is also like among people these days. And I would say uh, career is the main thing we are looking for at this age, so it is the main stress for us, which I've seen in people around me also.
Okay, Alka ma'am, I'll just come to you. Do you agree that a student who's in class 12th, a career and let's say going to college, exam, board exam, is that a major point of stress, or is there anything else also apart from this, especially in this class 12th and senior classes?
Class 12, when we are specifically talking about class 12, yes, career is that's one important aspect that leads to stress. Maybe positive also at times, or maybe that negative stress, what you're talking about. The reason is, the dynamic change of the entrance examination, the syllabi, and the number of careers which are coming up. And we also keep, like, at our level, we make sure there are a lot of professionals who keep coming in. We have a lot of career counseling sessions with our students, and our own alumni, Abhishek Gupta, he's the CEO of High School Moms. So he also keeps guiding our students towards it. But yes, I think that's one aspect, till the time you don't get through, so you have that stress over there. But there's something good I can talk about over here, is that in spite of the fact they are worried about their careers, but there's one more thing which at Bluebells we are really proud of, is the students are very focused. Like, even if I'm talking about Jatin, like, yeah, Ihinaa and Jatin, these are two students. I, as a principal, I take one grade and I teach them. So you see how focused these kids are, and they're very
Yes.
clear what they want in life. And it is not in grade 12. They decided somewhere, I think, around grade 10. They take the stream and they keep working towards it. So
Okay.
stress is there, but they work on that. And examination, personally, I also keep talking this to the students. It's important to score. I get that, but I keep giving examples. The students who are like average getting a 70, 80, right now, if I go back and see, they're super successful. So it's not always about numbers. It's also about, I think, your attitude towards life. I think your life skills, your communication skills, which are much more important. So we emphasize that a lot. So I agree these two things are there. Apart from that, in grade 12, I do not see too much of the social media, or the peer pressure, because till grade 11 they do everything, and after that suddenly they know that this is the last year and they need to work on that. So
Okay,
that's
now,
my.
Navroop ma'am, I'll come to you. How different is the system in Singapore and where you are? And is the kids there facing the same challenge? Are numbers important there also? And how you see when you have obviously seen the system in India and Singapore, and if you have to compare, if I talk to, let's say, a kid in Singapore who's in same class as Jatin, will that kid also talk to me the same problems which Jatin is saying, or will they have a different opinion?
They will have similar problems, Rudreshji, and in fact, even more. Singapore's
Mhm.
system is non-forgiving, totally non-forgiving in meritocracy. It's based on meritocracy, and the syllabus itself. It's not IB in local schools. It's not CBSE kinds, the board examinations. We follow A levels, which is Oxford, and Singapore government have specifically requested Oxford to give us the most toughest syllabus for our students here. So our students are actually doing. My daughter is in science stream, and she's actually doing IIT questions here. in her class 12. So while she was watching some YouTube videos to learn, she recognized that the questions which are being posed at IIT level in India, that's what are being posed here to 12th class students. And students here have extreme stress. The Singapore Association of Counselors, we are talking to Ministry of Education to reduce the stress, because we see extreme cases of stress and we see extreme drastic steps taken by students, and we are trying very very hard to bring this, to combat that kind of feeling, in conjunction with ministry also, and in conjunction with teachers. The teachers are being trained in trauma work, they are being trained to recognize the signs and symptoms, so some kind of compassion at that level. But if you ask me to compare India system and Singapore system, this system is non-forgiving completely, and there is extreme pressure on kids. And yes, students here are also working towards that kind of competition. There's this, it's like the expectation suddenly of the world itself has gone up. So I hear students telling me, oh, we are not competing against only Singaporeans, we are competing against the whole world for that, seat in the university in US. So it's like we are competing against the whole world. That kind of feeling, that kind of competition, it's instilled in them, and I don't know from where. It's not being posed by parents, so parents are the one who are soothing them. But either it's the system or the teachers or what, the peers, but it has become a norm. I have to go to that university, and if I don't get into that top 10 Ivy League universities, I have no value. I have nothing to do in life, or my life sucks. So that kind of attitude is developing. We are trying very hard, Singapore Association of Counselors and also ministry, there are steps being taken, but yet they are not up to the par or sufficient enough to help our students. But yes, steps are being taken.
Okay, I think you students should be happy that you are in very safe hands with Alka ma'am and not in Singapore. But don't worry, try to get into universities in Singapore. They are really very good universities, few of them in Singapore. So you can always try, and don't get afraid that. So university have a different level. I'll come to Ina. Ina, what is your role in school? And I'll ask a very specific question because we have three girls here. So, do you feel that girls and boys have different stressors and stress level? Are boys more carefree, or girls have more stress, or maybe the vice versa?
Namaskar everyone. I am Ihinaa and I am the Health and Wellness Ambassador at my school. So as the Health and Wellness Ambassador, and our entire team is responsible for spreading awareness and help students take more conscious decisions so that they can lead healthier and happier lives. So we focus on creating cordial relationships with peers so that they can be more happy and enjoy the entire learning process. So coming to your question, I feel the conventional belief that boys have more stress, they have more responsibilities, it's breaking in India. I think there's a lot of equality that already has been established. And when we talk about stress, boys do have more stress, I feel, at times because there is certain expectation. But then again, nowadays everyone is at the same level, everyone faces the same competition, they all have to adapt to the dynamic environment, everybody goes through the same interviews, the same entrance exams, so the stress level is balanced to a major extent.
Navroop ma'am, I'll come to you. Is it like what Ehna is saying, that yes, it's similar for boys and girls, or is there any difference between the stress level of boys and girls, ma'am?
Mhm. I think it's shifting a bit because it depends on the individual's capacity. Whether a boy or a girl, whatever capacity they have, if they have the capacity to tolerate that kind of stress and move through it, they, because the challenges are equal nowadays. It's not, girls are working, men are doing the house chores as well. So the gender roles are not very clearly defined right now. So women go out and work, they earn money, they are breadwinners also. So, and same way men are helping out. So what I have realized is it depends on the capacity of an individual. So if the individual feels They have the capacity to tolerate that stress, and that capacity is built over a period of time, especially in case of students. That capacity is built when there are supportive parents, when there are supportive caregivers, when there is supportive school teachers, peers, community itself. It boosts my confidence. No matter what, I'll keep striving and I'll keep going. So I have built some kind of resilience to, no matter what comes my way, I'll bounce back. So if I have a capacity, I'll be able to tolerate stress. But if my capacity is running low, it's like I'm running on low battery. If I'm running on low battery, any small stressor would irk me. But if I have a capacity, I'll give you an example. If I'm in a good mood and somebody bumps into me and I'm carrying a coffee, and I'll say, it's okay, even if my coffee spills. But if I'm in a bad mood and somebody bumps into me and my coffee spills, and I'm like, why can't you see and walk properly? So it depends. The incident is same of spilling of coffee. It depends on my state, my capacity to tolerate stress in that moment. So if we can manage that state, it depends from individual to individual, how the person, what capacity they are running on, and that capacity can be built. That's the good news. So that capacity can be built, and that resilience can be built. So I personally feel it depends on the personal, so many personal dynamics, and how that person has, how the dynamics has shaped that person into that capacity would also affect how that person is able to tolerate or not unable to tolerate the stress.
Okay, I'll come
Just
to Krisha.
one
Yes,
question,
ma'am, please. Yeah, Ji, I'll come,
to
ma'am, please.
Navroop ma'am. I'm just being inquisitive when you're talking about the stress levels amongst boys and girls. Uh, do you think that, like, girls are more resilient, more empathetic, or the dynamics have changed now? Just a thought.
Yeah, just curiosity, I understand. So empathy comes very naturally to girls. You'll see many people who are in counseling position or in teaching professions, they are girls. So empathy, that comes very naturally to them. But if you say boys cannot do it or boys do not have the capacity for that, no, they can. They can. The only thing is they are being conditioned into the process of being, oh, you are strong, you're strong, you're macho, boys don't cry, boys don't do this, boys have to be like this. So there's a lot of conditioning pressure on them, so that they mask. And that's the reason men, especially boys also, men also, they don't reach out for professional help, because it is against their image and so-called conditioning. But women find it easier and girls find it easier to reach out, ask for help, whereas it's a little tough for them because of the conditioning.
Okay, I'll come to Krisha and I'll ask every one of you students who are here. I'll ask you after this that if any one of you wants to take this up as a professional career, become a counselor or a psychotherapist, and you can ask Navroop ma'am for also for a career in that, because you all have been in here. But I'll before that I'll come to Krisha. Krisha, what is your opinion? And you had done a lot of work before this coming to this. In fact, all of you had worked a lot, and this shows how dedicated you all are. So, Krisha, let's just tell us what is your role in the school, and also tell us how. How do you see this debate which has unfolded till now, and what is your opinion over it?
Right. Namaskar, everybody. My name is Krisha Gupta, and I am the school ambassador at Bluebells Model School. So the student council basically works for the well-being of the entire student body. So talking about our discussion, so I'm a psychology student, and when ma'am discussed about good stress and bad stress, I could recall EU stress and distress. We had been studying EU stress and distress. So EU stress is the good stress, which motivates you to move forward, and distress is the bad stress, which negatively impacts a student. Now, talking about students, I think, like Alka ma'am also mentioned, social media today is a big problem. You know, it is so students are becoming more insecure because on social media everybody tends to put their good side. So you see people achieving many so you see only achievements and only the good part of everybody's life, which is making others feel more insecure. So that is one thing that I've noticed amongst school students. Second, while talking about career, and the thing is that the competition has, of course, it has so if we compare it to our parents' time, uh, there is a huge difference. So at times, even our parents might not understand that why are we feeling so stressed out, because like Arman also mentioned, it is extremely important for us to build our profiles and look for our college applications. And I've been observing is that students of grade 9 have started working on this. So when they are looking at all of these websites and they see so much competition around them, it of course stresses them out. And that this was not there, of course, during our parents school time. So that gap, I think, is causing more stress, and that gap is also is leading to so which is why a lot of students have problems with their parents, and they might not understand each other's point of view. So, which is why I wanted to also ask Navroop, ma'am, how can one help themselves during this time? At times parents might not understand because of the generation gap. So, how does the child help herself or himself?
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Krisha. A very valid point, because, of course, your parents, and in fact, my age also, when I was studying, we didn't have these kind of stresses and these kind of competition. It was just 10 to 12. You do it well, you get a good college. So it was all like that. And we were not even aiming for foreign universities. But this thing has changed completely. So, uh, I can tell you from experience what people here are doing and what I have seen people in India also are doing. So, you can reach out to your school first. So that's your point of contact, number one point of contact, because in this case your school is very well informed and up to date with the information. So you can first of all reach out to your school for the this kind of career guidance. Second, you can ask your parents to accompany you to school or a career counselor, so that they can also update their knowledge about the current ways of school admission, college admissions, university applications. The thing is, it's a very delicate balance. We don't want to condescend them in any way. The moment I reach out to someone and tell them, hey, your generation is like that, and you don't even have a slightest of clue what's going on in my age, so please, so the person would go into a defensive state. They would not be able to help us. And the same way, if they become condescending in some way, we would also, feel, oh, retaliate. Why you are being so aggressive at me? Oh, okay, okay. Sometimes parents say, मेरे टाइम में तो ये सब बिल्कुल भी नहीं था, फिर भी हमने कर लिया, हमने सब कुछ कर लिया, तुम्हें ये भी देते हैं, वो भी देते हैं, फिर भी नहीं तुमसे हो रहा. So these kind of things. So if we can have some collaborative, some way of finding the delicate balance where we have respect and also being affirmative, in the process, affirming our own reality and then requesting them to join you in career counseling sessions, so that they also are informed and they can help you in the process. I think that's a very good way of bringing both the generations together in the same page, so that they can help you rather than standing against you, they are standing with you in the process.
Navroop ma'am, I'll just put one question on behalf of these students here. Name first is, what if they want to build a career in this, because they all somehow have been kind of counselors and they have been in the process. So tomorrow, how good is a career in this profession? And secondly, I would also like to ask you, because I see all of them are focused on their profiles and building up profiles. So what is it that they can do? And you have seen they're doing wonderful works. So will you suggest them to do some kind of internships, or even what they can look in Singapore? Is there any options in Singapore, or any courses which they can do, short courses, or maybe a full-time profession? So what kind of graduation they can look for?
Yeah, Rudresh ji, I commend to the kind of awareness these children have, and
Yes,
the
sir.
guidance
And me
Alka
too.
ji
That's
and the
great.
school is providing them, that they are
Yes.
already in a very good space and in very good, the knowledge, the kind of knowledge they are exhibiting at this point in time, it's way beyond their age. So I am very impressed. First of all, so I would want to congratulate all of them and Alka ji. Coming to your second question, building a career in psychotherapy or being a psychotherapist, it's a very rewarding profession emotionally, very, very rewarding, very, very humbling experience to see people healing in front of you. And they come very sad, they come anxious, they come depressed. So if it is something that's close to your heart, where you want people to be happy because of you, and you become the medium and the channel of that, by all means do it. It's a very, very, very rewarding profession. For, if you want to say internally, for your own psyche, it's very nourishing. It's very nourishing for your soul and for your mental health, for your own mental health. So while you heal people, you get healed yourself too. So making a profession in psychotherapy, as Krisha is doing psychology right now, that's the first step. Even if you missed that train and you haven't taken psychology in your undergrad level, you can take it up as at graduation level. That's another missed train, so you can start the process there. If you are not willing to do that there, and you want to do something, build your career in something else, and then decide, so you have another option at masters. So masters is the minimum starting point. You cannot go, after masters there is no scope. So if you want to build a profession in psychotherapy, or you want to be a counselor or psychologist, you have to start at the graduation level. If you miss that, then please start at the master's level. So the masters should be in psychotherapy, or in professional counseling, or masters in psychology. So these are three kinds of genre. So when we say masters in psychology, it's basically identifying some kind of issues, mental health issues we diagnose. Psychologists don't provide therapy, they diagnose people. So there are few professions within psychology profession also. So one is psychologists, then there are psychotherapists who are doing the counseling part, the healing part. We are trained in healing modalities to help people heal. Right? There are many, many different ways of healing people. A lot of science-based, evidence-based therapies which can help people heal from the mental health challenges they are facing. And the third one is psychiatry. So when I say psychiatrists, they are the doctors. They are actually medical doctors who can prescribe medicines also for so-called mental health issues. So first line of defense is always psychologists or counselors, because they can talk you. Actually, nobody can talk you out of your mental health issues. We have specific therapies. We use those modalities to help people come out of those mental health challenges. And if things are not working at that level, and we want to stabilize the condition, because the condition is way beyond now the therapy stage, then we refer them to psychiatrists, and the psychiatrist would recommend some kind of medication for stability. Coming to your third question basically was how to, if these kids want to do some kind of internship programs in Singapore. Yes, Singapore offers internship programs, and there are universities, NUS, SMU, wherein students at undergrad level also, when they're in schools, they can do some projects. Not just in Singapore, even in US, you can do it online also. So come June, there's so many summer programs opening all over the world. So if you can acquaint yourself with those summer programs, you can Google it also. And then most of the universities are providing it to school students at a very reasonable price. Some universities are giving it completely free for the students, and they are online. So that's something which you all can consider. Internship is also possible in Singapore. Some counselors like myself, we also provide internship facilities to students, and it's available both online and in person to people here in Singapore. So yes, that those things can be done to add to your portfolio. But apart from that, whatever you are doing, being in council, being able to being part of the wellness programs, I think you guys are doing really great. You're already at it. So all the very best.
Thank you, ma'am. Alkaji, because we are now coming to the end of this program, I'll come to you, ma'am. First of all, congratulations to you. In fact, we could see how bright these kids are, and that has been under your leadership and the system which you have created. It's really wonderful to see. What will you advise to other schools? Because you have presented a model which should be adopted by other schools. And to the parents who are not so fortunate to have their kids in your school, and somehow their schools are not providing this kind of infrastructure. So your advice to those schools, what should be doing, and to the parents who are not in who are not fortunate to have such kind of environment in their kids' school?
First of all, I would like to thank you. And I would say it's not that I provide the environment, I think it's we, all of us. And the school where we all are is like a 43-year-old school. And Dr. Saroj Suman Gulati was the first principal, right now the director. So I think it all starts how, from the roots, the source who provided us all this. So that's one part. And the second part I would say is that yes, this concern is always there, because as a school we had adopted a government school also. So my advice to, I would say, the private schools, the schools who can afford, is we should always adopt one of the schools who do not have these facilities. There's nothing like an underprivileged school or anything of that sort. All schools are brilliant. So it's all about like if we adopt and we provide that kind of awareness. Although right now there are many, many NGOs, many people who are basically working on this aspect. And like stating out here, Krisha has also been a part of a campaign where they provided awareness, a different form, but that's one part. The parents also, it is not always a paid facility. It's like there are many, many ways we can actually get free counseling sessions. It's all about, are we aware? So, when Navroop ma'am, you were speaking, so constantly my thought was coming, I wanted you to tell the students, like the students who are here, they have an opportunity, but otherwise also, that we need to connect to ourselves, self, and have that maybe a half an hour or 20 minutes of me time, a silent time, where we feel, is there any turbulence? Is there any anxiety? So they should be well equipped to identify it is something which is not right. Point one. Second is awareness amongst all schools, all parents. Accept that this can happen. Look at this VUCA world, such a dynamic world. So obviously anxiety and stress would be a part and parcel. And also the kind of competition, as Navroop was saying, that I also keep talking to the students. I said it's not about Bluebells or CBSE. It's the complete world where we are competing with. So we need to be like aware of that, but not like take it like a stress. So again, coming back to what I was talking about, parents, students, if Navrupam, you can tell them. I as a principal, me talking, but I'm not a professional talking over here. So the difference is, can all of us acknowledge that taking a therapy is fine, and we should do that. I think as a principal, like how we operate, there's so much different kinds of things we are handling. So I think all of us, we need it. So these kids, at this age, uh, they need to realize that it's normal, that we need to seek help, seek support. It can be a professional, or maybe it can be like as teachers and principal, we also train to a certain extent. So acceptance, connecting to yourself, identifying, yes, there is something which is not okay. I don't have to Google and see, oh, am I depressed? I am this. No, nothing of that sort. Just connect to yourself. That silent 10 minutes and see, do I need help? So I would request Navroop ma'am a conversation with these kids, such that it's like a conversation with all the kids out there in the world. Telling
Definitely.
them, like for example, looking at Jatin right now, or maybe looking at Arshia right now, uh, is there something which bothers them? Should they seek help? So that, awareness, if you could have a conversation around it. Thank you.
Thank, thank you.
I'll come to you, Navroop ma'am, with for the closing, because we have to close the program now. I would like to ask these students, because is there anything which any one of you can ask, anything which you think you should be asking Navroop ma'am? And with that question, we'll be closing this program and taking the final comment from him. So you can raise your hand or unmute yourself and ask if anything which you feel about your internships, about your stars, profiles, or maybe about the stress points or anything which has been missed, or any specific thing which you want to ask Arman or Arshia or Jatin. Is there anything?
Yeah, I had
Okay.
one question.
Yeah, yeah, Arman,
Uh,
please go ahead.
the thing is that increasingly also the word depression has become a buzzword. So for every minute setback, should we label it as depression? And for every minute setback, should we go towards the therapy thing, or we should try to actually first introspect, learn, and then actually when it's the matter you feel it's out of hand, then only uh,
I
like
think
what's
a
the way?
great question, Arman. And in fact, maybe next time we'll invite you in the 10 News to be the host of such program. Navroop, ma'am, I think a very relevant question from Arman. And with this, we'll close the program, ma'am. And also what Alka ma'am said, ma'am.
Zero, zero. So thank you, Arman, for that question, because the term depression, is used very loosely. In fact, all the terms narcissist, abuse, narcissistic abuse, or codependency, people are throwing these words like anything, as if it's something which has been to be used so casually and loosely, and that has actually led to the losing that relevance of that subject. It has become a joke. Oh, you're depressed, and because of that, what happened is, if you tell someone, hey, I feel you need therapy, it feels like, you are telling me that I am mad. There's something wrong with me that you need therapy. You try using these words to anyone, you need therapy, they're like, you need therapy means what? I'm not mad, you are mad. You need therapy, because therapy has such a strong negative connotation attached to it. So I think responsible use of language. And to answer your question, when is that trigger, when is that red flag that I should seek some kind of professional help? I think there is a when very easy tip for all of us, for layman, without going into the details of diagnostic and statistical manual 5, which Krisha must be aware of, DSM 5, which we use to diagnose the mental health issues. Without going into that, anybody can do that. If something is affecting your day-to-day functioning, period, you need help. You need help. That's the time you seek professional help. Anything that's coming in the way of your day-to-day functioning, and you're not able to function properly, either my eating is getting affected, either my sleep is getting affected, my weight is getting affected, my studies are getting affected, my relationship with my friends, or I don't want to go to school, I don't want to show up, I don't want to talk to my parents, I just want to stay in my room. Anything that is affecting your day to day functioning, and you are not being your usual self, your usual self. If you're not being your usual self, then that's the time to seek professional help. And definitely responsible use of language, instead of throwing around these words. If we want that negative connotation to go away, we have to be the pioneers of change. And I think 10 News is doing a very good job by bringing all of us together and initiating such conversations where we can talk so openly and freely about it, and we can raise our concerns. And I think the whole audience is watching us, and it's going to stay there on YouTube and everywhere, so that people can watch and know about it. So we have to have that kind of responsible use of language, initiating such conversations, creating such platforms where people seek help, and don't feel stigma around it. And any guesses to all of you? I'm a therapist, and I'm a renowned therapist in Singapore. Any guesses from anyone? Do I go for therapy? How many yeses? How many
Yeah,
yeses?
Krisha, you can
So
tell
please
us what.
raise your hands. I want to see. Do I go for therapy? Okay, one,
Yes,
two, three, four, five, six, seven. So
yes,
all of you, right? Yes,
all
I
of
go for.
you. That's right.
Yes, yes, yes. And I have no shame in admitting that, because I am human. I'm human being. I also get stressed. And there are times when I need someone else to shine that light on me, to help me with my blind spots. Because when I'm in the middle of that pain, when I'm in the middle of the drench, I cannot come out. I need a hand to pull me out. So there is no shame in asking for help. There is no shame in seeking help. And Alka ji, to answer your questions, I think we need to build trauma informed communities, whether it is trauma informed teaching, trauma informed schools, trauma informed organizations, trauma informed classrooms. When I say trauma informed, I'm not saying that everybody become a healer and start healing each other in their traumas. Helping each other and holding space for each other with compassion, because we don't know what people are going through. We don't know. So having that kind of compassionate approach, where we are curious to understand, because it's in the hustle life, and as you said, in this VUCA world, there's a lot of hustle culture. Everybody is hustling, hustling, hustling. So we are stuck. We are stuck on that, that rat race, that hamster wheel. We are constantly running on the treadmill of achieving something, one after the other, one after the other, one after the other. And in that hamster wheel, we are missing the point of living life, of being human. So if we can just take a moment, breathe deep, as Alkaji mentioned, connect with yourself with compassion and curiosity. Is there a need for me to seek help? Please seek that. There's no shame.
Okay, I think a very one of my very interesting conversation I had with this talk show, and this brings us to this end of this program. And I hope we will have more programs like this, and maybe with Alka ma'am's help and Navroop ma'am's help, we can make a regular program out of it, maybe in for a short duration. And thank you to all the students who are here. You And it was really delight to meet you all. You have done a wonderful job, and keep doing this. Keep helping students, and I hope when you go ahead in your life, you will keep doing this, and this experience will help you. And maybe in future we'll see a professional counselor out of one of you, and maybe we'll call you again to a show like this. So thanks everyone for coming. Special thanks to Navroop ma'am for joining us so late here. And Alka ma'am, thank you all, and thanks for uh, giving us such bright students, and all the efforts which you have done. And thank you all students for joining us. Thanks and good night.
Thank you. Thank you,
Good
everyone.
night. Thank you so much.
Bye.
I think, can we leave? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am, we can.
Thank you.